Hello again. I've been asked to do a couple of questions. So this is an impromptu video just to work on questions from linear functions, chapter 12C, general maths. And we're looking at questions 3 and 4. So these are problem solving questions, but they do follow the general linear rules. Remember, there's your general equation, y equals mx plus c. But because it's problem solving, the y could be replaced with something else. In this first question, it is the weekly wage, and on the x-axis, actually s. This is tens of thousands of dollars, and you have to be careful interpreting the question. So be careful when, to see this is scale. This particularly this first one. I will explain why later on. Okay, but remember that represents your m represents your slope. Okay, and that is your y-intercept. Okay, so for the first one, let's have a look at question 3. All right. Not okay. Let's write nice and large. Okay, so question 3: find an equation connecting W and S. Now the idea, all right. So on my y-axis, I've got W, and my x variable is S. Now what I need is to work out first the slope. Now, if you notice here, we go from for every if I go across any two, it looks like I go up by 100. Let's check that out. So I start at 1, I've got 300, and so if I go across 2, then I'll go up to 400. So there's an increase of 100 for every 2 steps. But if you want, you can use coordinate values. So I'll take a couple of values. First of all, I'll need this value anyway. So the initial value is 0 to 50. So you notice here, at the point of s equals 0, you have 250. That's one point. And the next point is 1, and that's 300. Okay, so if I want to work out in the coordinate way, my m is equal to 300 minus 250 divided by 1 minus 0, which is 50 on 1, or just 50. And I already know my y-intercept, because when x equals 0, y equals 50. So the equation is, now you can either write, I will accept it if you write it with y and x, but to be correct, it's actually w equals 50 50s plus 250. Okay, that's part A. All right, part B. Find the weekly sales of the person. Find a weekly wage. So we're finding W. So W is the unknown. Now, there's a little bit of confusion with that part. If the salesperson makes $33,000, so $33,500 in sales. Now, you've actually got to change that into S. Okay, so it relates to S, but you see, S is not 33, like it's not in the tens of thousands. What is it in? It's in like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's because it's been scaled. So if you look here, it's actually thousands. Okay, yep, thousands of that. So how many thousands do I have? S is the number of thousands. I have 33,000 and 1/2, so 33.5. Okay, Now, if I go into my formula, 50 times 33.5 plus 250 equals, all right, so if I pulled out my calculator, which you won't be able to see, you're clicking around. So I'm just using the one I got in my hands, not bothering with the digital one. Just calculate that out. So 50 times 33.5 plus 250 equals. Now, right, you got to write this correctly. So it's 1,000. Yep, that's correct. 1,925. That looks like more like a 4, so let's write that properly. Okay. All right, now in part C, we're actually solving for, we're solving the reverse. Determine the sales necessary for a weekly wage of this. So in other words, we've got the wage of 8.50, sorry, 8.30. Okay, and we're actually solving for S. So what we're going to do, we're going to equate that to the rest of the equation, rearrange and solve. So you're going to use some of the skills that you should have picked up in chapter 1. Okay, so we're going to subtract 250 over both sides. If I take 830 minus 250, I get 580. So 580 equals 250, sorry, 50 times S. And then what do? That's right, I have to divide both sides by 50. So the S is equal to 580. Fix that up. Divided by 50. Which is which would be, okay, 11.6. And don't forget, when you're doing a problem solving question, write the answer, which is times by $1,000 of sales. Okay, all right, or you can write it as 11,600 is the final answer. So you need to put some context into that. All right. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. Maybe make a bit of space. Okay, let's have a look at question 4. All right, this one might make a bit more sense because that one was scaled, but we'll have a think about this one. Okay, this one you've actually got the function, so we don't have to find it. So that's one thing already. Okay, so but we do have to interpret it. I'll say question 4. Question 4A. Let's interpret that. I might type this one out for the sake of it because I'm rewriting in words instead of just symbols. Okay. Interpret the values of 0.5. Now, 0.5, and you notice it sits on its own. That is actually the y-intercept in terms of that. In terms of this is I would call that basically the how much is paid without any minutes. Because this is okay, this is an old style kind of question because you don't really pay for minutes on phones. That's something that we used to do in the about 20 years ago. But how much is paid without any minutes? So that's what we kind of would call a flat fee. So that's part A. That's the 0.5. And the 1.5 is that's what multiplies the t. The 1.25 means additional $1.20 or $1.2 for each extra minute. Okay, so that's how you interpret that. Now, at least in terms of the context of the question, you could also say, yeah, I think it should be answered in that sort of way, and not just in terms of the features of the graph, because there's a problem-solving question. All right. Find the cost of a 5-minute phone call. All right. Well, that would be, so we got t equals 5 minutes. And then that would be, okay, the cost, C, equals 0.5 oopsies, plus 1.2 times 5. Okay, 1.2 times by 5, check on your calculator, it's 6 plus 0.5 would be $6.50. That's the first one. Okay, and a 9.5. Okay, that was part 1. B, part 2. $9.5. 9.5 minutes. C equals 0.5 plus 1.2 times by 9.5. I keep running my 9s like a 4 when I'm using the mouse. So there we go. It's a bit better. I'm getting a little bit better at drawing with the mouse. There we go. All right. So that will give you, all right, 0.5. I'm not going to do it in my head. 9.5 times, sorry, right that way. 0.5 times, sorry, plus 1.2 times 9.5. Okay, that is 11.9. Yep. So $11.90 in the context of the question. All right. Now the last one, part C, we're working backwards. So we want to find, so we know what the cost is. C equals 14.90. And then we're trying to solve for how much time. So put the 0.5. 1.2 t. Okay, first of all, okay, so we're solving for t. We're going to subtract 0.5 from both sides, so it would be 14.4 equals 1.2 t. Now, I think I know what the answer is. I think it's 12. Check on your calculator. 14.4 divided by 1.2 is indeed 12. That's 12 minutes. I divided by 1.2. Okay. All right. So there's those ones. So, all right. Catch you guys next time.